It was around 11 in the morning that I had some sushi, that pack that Mom got for me at Wegmans the other day. I believe that sushi pack is called the Shrimp Faux Boy pack, according to my best recollection, but I'm not 100% sure. Today was also the day Mom and I went to a food truck rodeo and concert held by ZBTB, or the Zac Brown Tribute Band, who presumably primarily played songs by Zac Brown. They were primarily a band that did covers, according to my recollection, including that Toes in the Water, but in the Sand song, though I don't believe that's by Zac Brown, or at least I'm not sure. And then they also at one point did that Little Bit of Chicken Fried song. And as for the rest of the songs, they weren't as memorable, except one point in which one of the band members did an instrumental cover of the Star Spangled Banner song with a violin. The band played instruments such as guitars, someone played a banjo, someone did the drums, and another used a violin. Those kinds of instruments generally, both before and during the concert, which started at around 6 p.m. and ended around 8 p.m. I got some stuff from the food trucks. Before the concert, I got 2 roast beef sandwiches from the Red Aries or Orlon food truck. One, referred to as the original, was on a Kaiser roll or Kaiser roll, while the other sandwich was a beef on wick roll with presumably wick seeds and some sprinkled salt. As for the other one, I got both of them with cheese, both of the roast beef sandwiches, and at the condiments section, I applied both creamy horseradish, since one person suggested that putting on horseradish is the only way to enjoy these roast beef sandwiches that include meat juices that both make the sandwiches a little soggy and make them messier to eat. And I also put on ketchup. All that combined to result in getting this hand pretty messy. Then I got a giant pretzel with cheese. The pretzel included sprinkled salt, a giant pretzel with cheese from that lemonade stand, and then I went to the Kona Ice truck in order for my drink to go with the pretzel. I was able to do this because the lines for the food trucks were non-existent near the beginning, and even later on, only became still relatively short, only having to wait a few minutes, if at all. The cup I got was referred to as the Patriotic Cup. Got it for $7. That Mom gave me for the food truck rodeo. And they had $3 refills for that cup. Of which I got 2. Every time I filled that cup up, I had liberty of putting as much syrup on the ice as I pleased. I would generally do 3 different flavors each time at random. Including at one point a combination of lavender lemonade, blue raspberry, and something else. Throughout the day, it had rained on and off, and it was overcast, leading to it being one of those lukewarm to cool, and it ended up being like that temperature range, more toward the cool side, during this still technically spring, because June 7. Yeah, but at times it does feel like it's already summer on some days. I very much prefer a cool, mild summer day over a summer day that's roasting hot. It was cool enough that when I walked to Wegmans from around 2 to 3 p.m., maybe 2:30 to 3:30 p.m. actually. Around that time, I recall on my way getting back that one of the food trucks, I think the one for that served Italian dishes, was driving into the plaza where the community senior center is located, along with the town hall. The concert was free, and the proceeds for the food truck rodeo went to a fund for I believe it's the Heifer J Youth Engagement Award, according to my best recollection. Later on, I got a funnel cake and an order of 4 fried Oreos from that funnel cakes food truck. And when I walked to Wegmans, it was cool enough that I didn't really have to bring a sparkling ice beverage to drink for the walk. It's just something I do in order to stay hydrated during the walk. Because no matter what the temperature is, I always end up breaking out in a sweat because it's a mile-long walk. I didn't bring my phone with me because at the time, it was uploading the June 5, my dinner video, to YouTube, and that video was 36.5 minutes long, because that was the one talking about the Willow Inn outdoor karaoke night. And I got back $2 in the form of 2 $1 bills and a dime. Because I got back $2.10. I had a bunch of ones that I got from previous walks to Wegmans to return bottles, and every quarter I could find in my room. In the right pocket of my shorts. I used all the $1 bills, a dime and a quarter, in order to pay for both a 2-pack of black Sharpie chisel tips and then a 2-pack of black Sharpie fine tips. I got some Sharpie markers, a total of 4 from 2 2-packs. And the whole time prior to that moment, I was afraid to an extent that either a $1 bill or a quarter would end up falling out of my pocket because it was somewhat windy today. And it was still windy by the time we got to the food truck rodeo concert event. At one point, the wind blew away one of the paper containers with some aluminum foil, I think, that it was given for the Kaiser roll sandwich I got from that roast beef sandwich place. And Mom picked that up for me, but then at another point the wind blew away some napkins and I ended up picking those up. And Mom and I both walked to and back from that CSC Plaza for that event. We left at around 5 p.m., even though technically the food trucks open at 5:30 p.m., but they ended up opening them up early. In the time between after that shower I took upon getting back from that little journey in which I returned bottles at Wegmans and then got Sharpie markers at Walgreens, during which I didn't get rained on, but there were points in which Mom and I were lightly to moderately rained on during the food truck rodeo / concert event. And one of those times was while I was having those roast beef sandwiches with my mom. At one of those outdoor picnic benches that, by outdoor, I mean it was outside of that sort of concert hall with an outdoor roof to keep us from getting rained on. Despite the mild rain, the sandwiches were still enjoyable. I ate them quick so they wouldn't get soggy, and not only because of the rain, but also because of the meat juices that come from roast beef, or at least fresh roast beef. They were quite good. It was nice attending that concert. The music was good. We managed to get 2 seats that, while they were by, it was an extreme right side seat, but pretty close to the stage. And that's because we seated ourselves early on, but even well into the concert, I noticed that the front seats were pretty empty, while the back seats were pretty full. It was nice to feel the cool wind at various points. Throughout the concert, as we were pretty close where they didn't put a flap down, plastic flap, in order to put a sort of cover between 2 wooden support poles. At the long right side of that concert hall, that outdoor concert hall. Every single time I got Kona ice, I would put on enough syrup that toward the end I would be taking in spoonfuls of pure syrup. And I would eat it quickly enough that I would get a mild brain freeze at least once while eating it, or at least a bit of brain freeze, which is what that headache you feel if you eat something cold too quickly is referred to as. It's something that you can resolve quickly by putting your tongue to the roof of your mouth. That's what I did each time, and it seemed to work well. I think that's because the headache is caused by coldness in a part of your mouth. Something like that. Between me drying up, brushing my teeth, and putting on deodorant, following me doing that shower, and Mom and I leaving to walk to the CSC Plaza, which took us at most 10 minutes. I got in some work on a new styrofoam drawing project, relatively new, using one of the new black Sharpie chisel tips that I got from Walgreens. I would have initially gotten a rainbow pack of fine Sharpie tips, but they didn't have that. Reason why I brought all those quarters was because I assumed that initially was going to come to about $12, but it turns out I'm thinking the price might actually come closer to $10 to $11 now that I think about it, because that's the price they gave for a rainbow pack of ultrafine tips, which they did have, but I'm not particularly interested in ultrafine Sharpie markers at this time. They're useful for getting in more detail, but fine Sharpie marker tips are kind of the default all-purpose Sharpie marker. The chisel tips are good for covering a lot of surface area. The ultrafine tips are good for fine, precise detail. Those sort of things. On the walk back from Walgreens, I happened to find a 50 milliliter plastic bottle of Captain Morgan's spiced rum. I wasn't entirely sure what to do with it, but Mom had me throw it away since I found it on the ground near the sidewalk I was walking on. For most of the food I got from the food trucks, it was basically walking to one of the food trucks from the concert hall, getting what I wanted to get, and then walking back to the concert hall in order to eat it, with the exception of those 2 roast beef sandwiches and that last refill of the Kona ice, for which I got a syrup combination of blue raspberry, mighty mango, and then lucky lime. I'm going to have to try to remember that one if I can. That one seemed really good. I remember for the first one I got tiger's blood, then some Island Rush, those sort of things, along with another flavor for that first one, because again, every time I got Kona ice, I would cover the ice in 3 different flavors of syrup. generally speaking. I had that last Kona Ice refill during the walk back home with my mom from the CSC Plaza.